Ease up, everybody. It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe show. As always, I like to say you're blessed, highly favored, a magnet for miracles, and a solution for someone's problem. I am the 2018 Innovation Award winner from the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. And this is the home of Epic Conversations, and the Dr. Vibe show is the place for Epic Conversations. And just to make it out now, we are broadcasting live on Get Vocal. We're broadcasting live on Periscope. We're broadcasting live on YouTube. And we're also audio broadcasting live via my website. So we're like 5 or 6 different platforms are going on right now. But the star of the show is with us. The star of the show is where she needs to be. Now, let me do a little intro to our star of the show. Let me just give a quick, just do everything right here. Okay, so here we go. This lady is Dr. Deborah Fuqua. I was told to call her doctor the other day. With over 20 years of workforce development experience in the federal government, United States that is. She's an advocate for the human resource development for private and public sector organizations. She's considered an expert in the field of organizational leadership. She's a frequent speaker at organizations and conferences worldwide, covering topics related to educational leadership, women as leaders, leadership development, employee development, emotional intelligence, diversity and inclusion, effective communication, and other leadership-related topics. Dr. Fuqua teaches, encourages, and motivates others to achieve their personal and professional goals. She holds an undergraduate degree in management studies, a graduate degree in human resource development, and her doctor of management in organizational leadership. She's the author of Secure Your Cape, a women's motivational leadership book. She's also co-authored a textbook for colleges and universities across the United States, cultivating a culture of nonviolence in early childhood development centers and schools. She's a certified time to teach trainer, classroom management. She's also certified in diversity and inclusion and workers' compensation. She's a board member of the National Call Dad program, and she's also a member of the Black Doctoral Network Association, Eastern Education Research Association, Diversity and Inclusion Center with the University of Phoenix, and a member of the National Congress of Black Women. Wow, I'm finished. I'm getting up. No, I'm still here. This lady is, tell me, does she do enough? Wow, and she has time to share with us tonight? Wow, I'm going to bow. We are blessed and highly favored to have Deborah. Can I call you Deborah, or do I have to call you Dr. Deborah?
No, you can call me Deborah.
Oh, thank you. Again, thank you for the permission. So kind of you. Okay. And she's going to be sharing with us tonight how to become an effective leader. She says it's only going to be part 1, but I'm going to test her to see if she can get everything she wants in for just a part 1, because I know it's going to be so good there's going to be a part 2. Deborah, thank you for taking time out of your positive, productive schedule to join our conversation this evening. How we doing?
I'm doing good. It's a pleasure to be in conversation with you this evening.
Yes, and just to give everyone a little sidelight, Deborah and I have known each other digitally for a long while, and I was encouraging her to come on this platform because she has so much positive stuff to offer. This is going to be good stuff. Hey, welcome, Bobby, on the Get Vocal platform. Hope you're doing well. Deborah, we got all this long bio about you, but you know what? We want to know how it all started. So can you share with our audience where you grew up, how was life growing up, etc.? So where were you born and all those things?
Okay, well, I grew up in the mountains of Virginia. Yes, I did. And, I had 4 siblings. And, we were country. I'm a country girl. I grew up in Virginia. I was married, went overseas, went to some military locations. And I have 3 children, so I'm very blessed. I'm very blessed.
What are some of your memories of growing up in the mountains of Virginia? I've driven through them, but I haven't stopped in them.
Well, now I'm in Summerville, South Carolina, so I miss the snow. I really miss the snow.
Wow.
I am a winter person. I love Christmas. I love snow. So I really miss the snow in the mountains and sleigh riding and everything. So hopefully I can get back there one day.
Hey, I just want to interrupt here. when we did a test, I asked if you had earbuds, and I'm hearing a little bit of feedback through the speakers. Are you able to put your earbuds on? Because I'm just seeing a little bit of. If you don't have them, no problem. If you could put them on, it'd be better.
Okay, hold on just a second.
No problem, folks. We're just getting Deborah to put on some earbuds because I'm hearing a little bit of feedback through her laptop. So I just want to make sure that no big issue.
What's that? These earbuds don't fit this laptop.
Okay, no problem. We'll continue on. No problem. We'll work with it. We'll work through it. So let's get on. So what are some of your memories of growing up in Virginia? Like, was it a good time? Was it enjoying time with all the snow?
It was. I can remember my brother putting me in a big old tire, rolling me down the hill in our backyard. I mean, we did some dangerous things. I mean, we used to hike back in the mountains in the caves. So I remember the caves. And I mean, I enjoyed my childhood. I don't know a lot of people that had similar childhoods to mine, but I mean, I was went to school. I was in track. I was in the band. I enjoyed my childhood, my youth. I really did. I really did.
Excellent. That's really good to hear. Uh, during that time, how was things with your parents? What kind of parents did you have? Were they loving parents, caring parents?
Oh, yes, they were loving parents, religious parents. I mean, we were in church all the time. I mean, church, Bible studies during the week and Sundays on Sundays. So, I mean, religious family, no makeup, dresses only, that kind of thing. So that was my life.
And what was life as you grew up? What sort of interest did you take education wise? Because you have a long educational resume. So where did that foundation to pursue education come from? Did it start at an early age?
I believe that it started at an early age. I believe that when I was in high school, I do mention this in my book, Secure Your Cape of Motivational Leadership for Women. I mentioned this in my book where I discuss how my guidance counselor, she told me, she was like, I was an average student. I was actually above average. And she told me to just take up a trade. You don't need to go to college. All you need to really do is take up a trade. So over the years, I didn't have self-confidence enough to say, oh, I need to go to college and pursue my dreams. I didn't have it there. I mean, it took years and years and years to overcome that challenge. So after I was able to overcome the challenge and I was exposed to different cultures by being a military spouse, and so we went different places, I was able to see different people, uh, diversity. So I was able to say, hey, I want more in life. I think I can do this. So I was able to go back to school and graduate. And I always wanted to be an educator in regards to, I wanted to share my knowledge with others.
Okay. Good stuff. I just want to shout out you for sight on Periscope. And we've got a number of people watching on YouTube Live. Thank you so much. Want to shout out to Harrison Family Vlogs. So thanks. That's one person I can see that's on the YouTube. So it's wonderful. We have people on Periscope, we have people on YouTube, and we have people on Get Vocal. Wonderful. Thanks for taking the time. And please feel free to ask questions and make comments as we go along the journey this evening. So let's get back here to yourself and traveling around the world. Do you remember any special places or experiences when you were traveling around the world?
I love Iceland, of course, because of the snow.
Snow. You're back to the snow thing again.
That's all Charleston is missing is snow. I mean, if they had snow down here, a lot of snow, then that would be the perfect place.
Wonderful. Actually, I've never been, but I know anyone who has went to Iceland say it's absolutely a beautiful place.
It is beautiful. The Blue Lagoon is absolutely gorgeous. Gorgeous place.
Excellent. So you finished while you're doing this traveling, you said, you know what, I want to pursue. Where did the thought of leadership enter your journey?
Well, when I was overseas, I was actually in Cuba, and I worked, my first government job was working in the personnel office overseas in Cuba. and I worked in personnel. And so I would kind of manage the awards for employees that was coming in. And so I'm like, this really feels good, you know, to help employees go through the courses and get their rewards afterwards. So I really enjoy that. I'm like, I want to help people, you know, assist with getting their goals, accomplishing their goals. So that really felt good. I mean, that brought joy to my heart. So I'm like, okay, I want to take up human resources. So I took up human resources in school, and I was working in human resources. So I've been working in human resources for over 20 years. So that, I mean, that's who I am. I want to see people develop.
Okay. Where did you get that love from? Was it something that you found yourself, or was anyone in your family influencing you, that love of helping people, seeing people develop?
Well, I can say that I can go back to my supervisor at my first federal job. That's what she had did for years and years, and I kind of got on board with it. I'm like, well, that's a nice career to get into, and so I just want to help others because my reward is watching people accomplish and progress. So if I can see the change taking place, see, one thing that is about it's sort of like a transformational leader. You want to be able to change people from their current state to a better state. And so my joy was seeing people convert or transform to that better state.
So you decided to take courses in human resources. And after you finished those courses, what was your next step?
Well, I felt like I wasn't finished. I went ahead with my master's program, zipped through that. That was the easiest degree program I've ever had. I zipped through that, and I was like, well, I feel like I'm not finished until I get my doctorate's degree. So I did. I went for my doctorate degrees. I studied leadership for years and years and years. It took me 6 years to complete my degree program.
6 long years.
Yes.
During those 6 years, was there any time you felt like quitting?
Oh yes, many times. I can remember. My last class. I can tell you my last class. I lost a maybe 25-page paper. My computer crashed. It crashed. And I was screaming. I was just sitting at my kitchen table, just screaming. And I kind of sat there. I cried for about 2 hours. And I said, okay, I got to go to work the next day. And guess what? I didn't go to work the next day because I called out sick because I was actually sick. So I had to create this paper over again and turn it in the next night. And I made the deadline and I made an A on the paper. So, and I can remember doing this degree program, going to work. I would stay up to maybe 4 o'clock in the morning. I would have to get up at 5:30 to get ready for work. So I didn't have enough of sleep. So I would go out in the parking lot and sleep for about 30 minutes, have my alarm on my phone, wake me up. I go back into the building, finish my day, go home, do the same thing, work and read and study, and to 3 and 4 in the morning, and get up and do the same thing all over again. So I did that for years. And I mean, I would sleep, take naps. It was an experience that I would not repeat.
Well, at least you got through it, right?
I got through it. Yes, I did. I got through it.
Do you remember the day that you graduated from that 6 years journey?
I remember my oral defense very clearly. It was clear. I was in my pajamas. I was at my kitchen table, and they had asked me if I wanted to do it, video or just audio. And I'm like, well, I had papers all over my kitchen wall where I had, just in case they asked me a question, I had to look. And so I said, no, we can just do audio, please. And so they asked me my questions. It took me about 20 minutes to go through my oral defense. And they did not go back to deliberate. My chair, she spoke up and she said, I'm going to go ahead and pass her through. And she asked the committee members, do they agree? And they said yes. And they was like, congratulations, Dr. Fuqua. And it was like, I got really quiet. And my chairperson, she was like, are you still there? And I'm like, yes, tears are just flowing down my face. I'm still here. So I was just so happy. And I mean, I prayed a lot to God a lot. So I thank God for getting me through that process. Wouldn't do it again. But yeah, I enjoy leadership. I enjoy training leaders. And it is as a reward for me. I enjoy it so much.
What makes, okay, I'll save that conversation piece at the end. Let's get to the main core of our conversation. And there's Ella says, praise Jesus. Very nice. Why did you want to share about how to become an effective leader with us this evening?
Okay, well, like I had said before, I studied leadership for years and years and years. During my studies, I had, come across some proven studies on what works at certain organizations. And so if there's certain things that you're doing that's working in regards to soft skills or interpersonal skills, those are the same things, then that's something that you want to use in your training. So the first thing that I created my model in 2014. The first thing about this model at the top of the model, do you have a screenshot of the model? No? Do you
I
have
can't.
Okay. Let me see if I can. That's my leadership style model. And at the
Okay. Unfortunately, we lost Deborah for a moment. Hopefully, she's going to come back on. So we've been having a little bit of technical difficulty on her end. So we're speaking that she's going to come back on in just a moment. I'd just like to thank everyone who's hanging in there through the technical challenges, and appreciate again everyone on YouTube, everyone on Periscope, and Get Vocal. So we're going to wait in regards to this. And if anyone who have any questions about leadership right now, I'm not a leadership expert, but you can certainly ask me some questions about leadership myself. I'm blessed to be a leader of an organization that does mentorship for fathers, and it's we have an actual physical space in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, where I'm based. So we're going to give Deborah a few moments, because I could see she was having some challenges with her Wi-Fi. So just wondering if anyone, and I do again thank Melanie, thank Pat, Ellis, and MH on the Get Vocal side, and the people on YouTube. Hang in there. We'll give it a few more moments. If she's not back in the next few minutes, we'll end our conversation and we'll reschedule it. So just some things in regards to upcoming conversations on the Dr. Vibe show. Tomorrow night at 9 p.m., I have a gentleman named Danny Stone. It's going to be talking about, especially if it's the new year, how to basically get unstuck. If there's things you want to get done and you're not able to get them done, okay, you foresight, I'm worried these things happen. These situations happen with live streams if you're using Wi-Fi. That's why I encourage, if you're going to be doing live streams, have a direct connection to the internet. When you're using Wi-Fi, the signal can be challenging. And when you're using Wi-Fi also, you're using audio and video, and that takes a lot of capacity. So you want to make sure you're directly, and you're saying I should say I don't worry when these things happen when we are used to do it on Periscope. Well, I like to multi-platform broadcast, so you foresight. That's why, as much as possible. Hey, what is up, Mr. Wonderful? Thank you, Ellis. Well, the reason why, been there, done that, and I do that experience. So we did do a test about a day or so ago, and everything was fine. But again, I did encourage Deborah to have a direct connection. So we're going to just give a few more minutes. And if she isn't in, we'll, oh, she is back. Well, let's see if she is going to patch in. So Deborah's back in the room. Let's just see if we can get, Ellis, I do not broadcast on Facebook Live. There's a little bit of a challenge right now, syncing Get Vocal. Okay, Deborah is back.
I don't know what happened.
Oh, well, I will. You know what? I think because you're using Wi-Fi, that can be a little bit of the challenge.
Okay, I'm sorry about that. I do apologize for that technical difficulty.
No problem. We got people are still here on Get Vocal, and I've kept people, I guess, entertained or somewhat engaged. We have we even have more viewers on the YouTube platform right now, so they must like what you're saying, so they hung around.
Okay, so you want me to go ahead and start where I left off?
Yes, please.
Okay. Okay, well, I was talking about the my leadership style model. So the model begins with the leaders at the top. So the leaders, as leaders, we have to reflect. We have to learn ourselves. We have to know who we are in order to manage and lead others. We have to be able to manage ourselves. And so that's the important thing. It's kind of like the soft skill, the emotional intelligence. We have to know the emotions, our own emotions, and the emotions of others. That gives us the skill to be able to know how to approach them. So when I talk about leadership as reflection, I think that we need to do this often, maybe 3 or 4 months. We need to write a personal leadership statement. That personal leadership statement should be different every time that you write it. So there should be a progression with that leadership statement. That's growth and development when you do that. And so as leaders, we reflect. And then we also, the next thing that's on the model is the leadership styles. Now, the leadership styles, that's just an approach that you use with a person or a situation. So you may have to approach maybe Sally. Let's call her Sally. Sally's over here. She's kind of sensitive. It's like, let me use an analogy. Let's say that you have a newborn baby, right? This newborn baby is really sensitive. So you're going to hold this baby and you're going to rock this baby, feed this baby, and change the diapers, right? So let's take that back to the workplace. If Sally is really sensitive, you're going to use a leadership style approach with her that's going to be a little bit more sensitive than other leadership styles. So I talk about 5 different types of leadership styles on my model. I talk about transactional, transformational, autocratic, charismatic, and servant leadership. So to briefly, and this is what I teach in my workshops as well. I go really in depth with them, but if you go with the different leadership styles, you talk about transactional. Okay, the main thing about transactional leadership is this type of leader gives clear goals. They set clear goals and tasks for the employees, and they expect for them to accomplish those tasks just as they give them. Now, and it's also a reward system. So if the employees perform well, then they will reward them. If they kind of non-effective performer, then they will punish them. And so that's the type of leader that is. And so in my workshops, I go through the positive characteristics and the negative characteristics of each leadership style. Now, if there's a transformational leader, like I said earlier, that's moving one person from a current state or organization to a better state. Or transformational leaders, they develop employees, and they not only give them a task to complete, they actually sometimes, if needed, they will show them how to do that. So they increase employee morale. These types of leaders increase employees morale. Also, like I said, all of these have negatives to them as well. Then you have your autocratic leader. Well, an autocratic leader, they solely make the decisions. And they're good leaders, especially in emergency situations. So if you have an emergency situation, you're going to want this type of leader to take charge and do what they have to do. You're not going to want like a servant leader that's going to say, you know what, we need to schedule a meeting. We need to collaborate and figure out what we're going to do because we share leadership. So that's a little bit of the servant leadership. They share leadership. It's a collaboration. they empower employees, they increase employee morale, but also they give, I guess, false premise. They may believe that something's going to happen and they really can't make it happen. So that's the deal with the servant leadership. So all of these different, charismatic leader, I forgot to mention that. That's my favorite one because they are cheerleaders. And when I say cheerleaders, it's because they have a lot of energy. They have a lot of energy and they're enthusiastic. And these types of leaders are the best types of leaders if you need to make a major change at your organization. You need to get someone that's a charismatic leader. And so that's the best type of leader to use for that. Now, go ahead. You have a question?
I do have a question. In the years that you have practiced leadership, has there been one type of leadership that you've encountered in organizations that you deal with?
Yes. Yes, autocratic in a negative way. I have come up against one individual that was leading by intimidation. The thing is that with even though you're a strong autocratic leader, you don't want to lead by intimidation. That may be your dominant leadership style, because I believe that we all have more than one leadership style, or we should have more than one leadership style, because one is not going to be effective. So I came up against this leader, and this person did not use effective leadership style because they were scaring employees. And if you scare an employees, that's going to decrease employee morale. They're not going to want to do anything for you because you may scare them enough to do what they need to do, but it's decreasing employee morale at the same time. They may accomplish the task just because they're scared of it, but it's decreasing employee morale. And in the long term, it's going to have a negative effect on the entire organization. So that's one leadership style.
Does it not concern you that we're in 2019 and autocratic leadership is still so prevalent?
You said what now?
I'm just saying that in 2019, does it not concern you that autocratic leadership style is still so prevalent?
It does concern me, but however, I mean, that's just who people are. You have people that's not, they don't have the training, the education to understand what's behind their actions, because they can affect others just by their actions. So they just don't know. They just don't have the leadership training that they need. See, if you have that leadership training and you know the negatives and the positives from each leadership style, then you know how to approach people. You know how to positively and in a positive way approach people, interact with others.
It's an excellent question here coming on the Get Vocal platform from Ellis. They're asking, Ellis is asking, and I'm speaking that it is a male. If I'm not, correct me. Do all styles of leadership have a limited effective lifespan? Example, sports coaches, when players stop getting motivated by the same tactics. Great question.
So okay. Mm-hmm.
It's a good question.
So it is an excellent question. It is. And, I never thought about much of like that. Arena with leadership style, you may get to a certain point as to where maybe a certain method or approach doesn't work anymore. And then that way, as a leader, you need to figure out, okay, how can I better approach this? Do I need to speak to the person and find out what's going on? And that's what I would personally do. If something's not working, that means you need to have a discussion. And that's where you use your interpersonal skills. Interpersonal skills, that's where you develop those positive relationships. That's where you can get people to do the things that they need to do. Is influence, because as leaders, we walk, we speak, we present ourselves in a manner that people are going to want to follow us. not because of our title, but because of our mannerisms, how we treat them, how we manage them. So if something is not working, then you as a leader have to figure out what it is. You have to sit down and have those discussions, that effective communication, and provide that feedback. It's back and forth. You have to understand others. That's what I would do.
Excellent. And I'm really enjoying this conversation because I said there are people listening live audio stream. There are people listening or watching on YouTube Live. There are people watching on Get Vocal. Here's a question from YouTube. The questions are flying. Saying, as a leader, how do you steer a person from a negative work ethic to a positive one?
So if they have a negative work ethic and you kind of want to steer them to a positive, it's basically, I would lead by example. You would monitor them well and you would have those discussions, but you want to lead, especially as a leader, you want to lead by example. You want to make sure that you walk in the walk, talking the talk, so forth. But that's how you steer people, and you figure out what maybe be the I guess the what you call the barriers that's causing them not to be able to progress to effective work ethics. So, but you want to address it. You don't want to ever not address anything. You want to address everything, bring it out on the table, because what you do when you put it on the table, you're going to bring those underlying issues to surface, and then you're going to find out exactly what's going on. And that's effective communication. You just gotta talk, discussion.
Okay. Lisa Kim here on YouTube is saying, I love that you said leaders must have more than one leadership style. I love the transformational style because it suits my personality. Thank you for sharing that information, Dr. Fuqua.
Oh, you're welcome. Very good. And with the leadership styles, there's a situational, they call it situational leadership style. It's not really a leadership style. It's just a approach that you have to adapt. You adapt to the situation or the person. So if there's something going on, then you pull this leadership style out of your toolbox, right? If there's an emergency, like I said earlier, if it's an emergency, okay, let's pull autocratic. If you need maybe to develop a person, maybe the servant or the transformational leadership. Okay, if you have an employee that likes being rewarded, then you want to pull transactional leadership. So you have to pull those different leadership styles. That's situational leadership style. And that was the next thing on my model, which I want to show. I know you can't see it, but yeah, just if you want a copy of it, just email me and I can send you a copy of it. So after we approaching it, so to start from the very top, as leaders, we reflect, right? We know that we have to know who we are before we approach people. So we approach others by using the different leadership styles according to the situation and the person. Then after we approach people, then we need some more essentials, right? So as leaders, we have to walk upright. We have to have some integrity. We have to have trust. We have to have the ethics, the values. The values, what do we value? We value respect, money. We value hobbies. There's so many things that you value. And far as the ethics, you have your business ethics and your personal ethics. Your personal ethics, the morals that you was raised with, right? The different things that you was trained with when you was raised up. But when you get into the workplace, guess what? You have to follow those business ethics that aligns to that organization. So those are when I say walking upright, that's the section where the leader has to do what they're supposed to do, because everybody's looking at the leader. Everybody's looking at you. So you have to do what is right. Because guess what? If you don't, people are going to be sitting on the phone talking about you. Hey, guess what? He did this today, and that's decreasing productivity. That's decreasing employee morale. All kind of problems can result in that. So you have to think about everything that you do as a leader, regardless if you have a title or not. You have to watch what you do. And so that's one set of the essentials. Then the other set of essentials that you need are your soft skills or interpersonal skills. Like I said earlier, those are the interactions that you have with others. Now, your soft skills can be anything from workplace relationships, effective communication, feedback, listening. You have customer service, how to lead diversity. That's a big one because you gotta know how to lead the different generations because they think differently. And the thing with that, with the different generations, they expect different reward systems. So in the thing is with the different generations, the different ethics, in order to bridge the gaps in the workplace, you have to know why people do the things that they do. I have to know. I have to know why Dr. Vibe does the things that he does. Okay, he's Canadian. Why? How do Canadians think? Okay, so that's just an example. You have to know why people do the things that they do. And so you have this. This is part of the model. So if you're doing all of these things effectively, then that's going to resort into effective leadership. If you are positively doing these things in the right manner, you're using those positive characteristics of the leadership styles, then this leads to effective leadership. And so effective leadership leads to an increase in employee morale. And this is a big one here because the employees are the ones who are doing the work. They're the ones that's doing the work for the organization. And you want to make sure that they're happy. So we got to make sure that our employees are happy. We have to use the correct leadership style in order to develop those positive workplace relationships. We have to empower our employees. We have to influence them. You see, leaders should have the ability to influence others to obtain goals that support the mission and the vision of the organization. So that's very important.
You've covered a lot over the last few minutes, and I want to roll back on some things before I go any further. I'd like to say a shout out to Steph. Thank you so much for stopping by on the Get Vocal platform. I've taken one or two notes, so one of the things I want to ask you about is we always hear about integrity. What is your definition of integrity when it comes to leadership?
Being honest, just simple as that. Being honest, integrity, be honest. Do what you say you're going to do.
Okay. And definitely one of the hot topic words we're hearing when it comes to leadership in organizations these days is diversity. Do you feel that companies are really taking diversity seriously?
I do. I believe that they are taking it. They're implementing programs at the organization. I also work at a federal organization, and we're standing up a new diversity and inclusion program, and they're taking it very seriously. There is big support from leadership. It's really going to be a good thing. I really think this is going to be great change for this organization. So I do see a lot of organizations that are taking initiatives towards diversity and inclusion.
Okay.
And it's a good thing because we have to know who people are. We have to include everybody. See, diversity, it's good to say that, okay, we have the numbers. We have blacks, we have Asians, okay? But okay, we have all this diversity, but we have to include them. It's like I think of diversity and inclusion like this. Okay, so you have a cake. I want to bake this cake. And I've got to use all of my ingredients, right? And if you don't use, let's say you have the milk, the butter, the flour to make the cake, the sugar. And if you're missing the eggs, okay, let's say you're missing the eggs, that cake's not going to taste right, right? It's not going to be any good if you leave the sugar out. So I think of inclusion that way. We got to include all the ingredients. We got to include all the people. We have to make sure that they feel valued, committed to the organization. And that's what it's about, changing their mindsets. And my belief is that it has to come from leadership first. They have to embrace it. And then I believe that after that, everybody else will fall in place and will follow it. So.
Okay, and just when it comes to that, you're saying embrace it, and that you also want, I guess you'd also want to say they embrace it and they also show it and carry it out.
Yes, indeed.
Okay, all right. Another thing, and I just want to ask you here is, do you feel that companies are investing more in equipping their leaders now than they did 10 years ago?
I do see a lot of leadership training that's taking place right now. I do. Right now, and I feel like the country is in a leadership crisis. We really need to really have a lot of leadership training, because we have to think about the future. We have to think about our children, the youth, because they're going to be running the country one day. So we need to train and develop them so that they be able to lead effectively. And so, yes, I do see a lot of leadership training. There's so much leadership training out there, a lot of it.
Just to cycle back, you mentioned that you feel the country's in a leadership crisis. Why do you feel that?
I have the right to remain silent.
Okay.
No, really.
And I know why you're wanting to remain silent, but I mean, outside of that answer that you don't want to give, I'm just talking corporate-wise.
I do believe that it is. I think that we are in a leadership crisis because of how some organizations, like in the news where you see certain things that's happening at the different organizations, I believe that it's resulted in non-effective leadership. And so that's why I believe that we are in a leadership crisis. Leadership affects everybody. It affects everybody. So,
yeah, Alice has an interesting comment. I'm not going to repeat it, but yes, she does think that, Alice. I'm not gonna repeat that. I'd like to say good evening to Melvin. How much is the ethical component a part of leadership these days? Because it's interesting. Many years ago, I know people, there were courses that were offered in ethics in colleges and universities. They weren't offered for a while, but I hear that they're being offered again. It seems that when you see lack of leadership, it goes along with lack of ethics. Would you agree?
I do agree with that. It has a lot to do with leadership. You know, like I was saying, the leader has to walk upright. They have to do things right, because if not, if they're operating, I guess, unethically, then others will see that, or others will follow. And we don't want others to behave the same way. And so, yeah, that's a big one. It's ethical behavior has a lot to do with leadership. That's one thing that's important that leaders need to know, that you have to be mindful of your behavior there. So,
and I could keep conversation topics, but I know there's probably more you want to share, so I'm going to hold pat for a little bit and let you continue.
Well, the bottom of this leadership model, when I was talking about earlier about increasing employee morale, if you practice an effective leadership, this will increase employee morale. And what happens is that the employee productivity will increase. Employees will not, they will not call out and say, "Oh, my toe is hurting, I can't walk to the car to get to work." They're going to stay home if they're not committed to the organization. So when employee morale increases, they're not going to do this. They're going to come to work. They're going to be committed. They're going to perform beyond your expectations. And that's what you want. They're going to be more creative and innovative. And see, that's what we want our employees to be like, because they're the ones that's doing the work. And the opposite from increase employee morale, decrease employee morale, that's what we don't want. We don't want people to not be happy. And that has a lot to do with, and this is going off a little bit with, you want to make sure that that person's in the job that they can do. So that when you hire that person, you want to make sure that their knowledge and skills, abilities does match up with the position. Because if you put them in the position and they're not matched up with it, they're not going to do well. You don't want to set them up for failure. So you want to make sure that you match them up with the position. and so that they will be increase in productivity, that type of thing. You don't want to bring them on board and then later they quit. You want to be able to retain them. So you want to make sure they where they are supposed to be in regards to their skills and ability.
Just going to ask you a clarification piece here. I've heard a lot these days that the best leadership comes from the bottom up, not the top down. Would you agree with that?
Yes, I agree with that. In some cases, not just straight from the bottom up to the top up. I believe it depends on what the situation is. I don't believe that to be just strictly from the bottom to the top. I believe that there's certain things, far as major organizational changes, the leadership needs to come from the top. Far as employee productivity and how to improve products and services, it should come from the bottom up, because the leaders need to know what's working well. Let's say, for example, you have a plant. Maybe you have employees that's building compressors. They build compressors, right? The leaders have to know what works best for them and how to build those compressors. So sometimes it will come from the bottom up. It depends on what the situation is.
Now it's interesting. I'm seeing so Steph is saying, I totally disagree. You can manage up, but leaders set the vision and the strategy.
Yeah, yes, they do. They do set the vision and the strategy, and it can be both ways. It's not going to be bottom up, totally bottom up. No, no, ma'am.
Okay. You Foresight or you two on YouTube is saying, with diversity, it would be wise to be diverse because you don't know where your next good idea is going to come from or who it will come from.
Absolutely. You don't know.
Excellent. What sort of changes have you noticed in the leadership landscape in the last 5 years? I could say 5 to 10 years. What have you noticed with the organizations now that you're... Oh, before I go any further, here's a question from the audience on Get Vocal. Melvin is asking, in your opinion, is it difficult to lead men?
Okay.
And Ellis thinks it's a good question. So you got two people you're putting on the hot seat right now.
Is it difficult to lead men? I believe that there are differences in gender in regards to as to how to lead them. I would say yes and no. I mean, personally, to lead men, I don't have a problem with it. I have seen people that has difficulty in leading men. It depends on who the person is, really. You can't put everybody in the same, in the same category. It depends on their role and their responsibility. I believe sometimes men want to automatically take the leadership role and assume responsibility for everything. And some men believe that maybe women are, beneath their level. But not all men are like that, no. I know a lot of men that value women, and it depends on who the person is.
Another question. The questions are flying in, so I told you you're going to be on for a little while. Melvin is now asking, are you intimidated when you are responsible for leading men? Do you ever get...
No, I'm not. No, I'm not intimidated by leading men. Not at all. I enjoy leading.
So hold on a second, though. When you first started, were you?
Yes, I was. Years ago, I was.
Okay, no problem.
Not now. I'm not intimidated at all. I'm not intimidated at all. Actually, in my workshops, if I have, sometimes I have men that challenge me in workshops, and then I actually enjoy that, because then I actually focus in on them and start asking them questions, and we have a discussion, and we kind of settle it and move forward with the class. But I don't have a problem with leading men, not at all. I enjoy leading everybody. I think that to some point we all are leaders. I mean, people ask you for directions, you're a leader, right?
Okay.
It's to a certain point we all lead in some capacity or form, shape.
So Steph is asking, or not asking, she makes a comment on Get Vocal. Anyone can be difficult to lead if they don't want to be led.
Absolutely. That's a good point. Absolutely. If they don't want to be led, it would be difficult to lead them.
All right.
But then that's when you need to put your thinking cap on too and say, hey, okay, what is it? What can we do to change this person's mindset? That's when you want to start doing a little bit more interaction with that person.
Okay, and I'm jumping back over to YouTube now. You Foresight for you too is saying, oftentimes the best insight of a company comes from the places you would not look or expect, such as the bottom. Also saying that, in other words, can a man stop talking long enough to hear what a woman is saying? That's well done. Well,
what do you think about that, Dr. Vi?
In regards to that comment about can,
Yeah.
yeah, you have to not only have to hear, but you have to listen to them. You can hear somebody, but you also got to listen to them, and that's very, very important, because one of the best ways to find out of people is give them freedom and see what they do with it.
Mm-hmm. You listen to them.
Yep.
And you provide that feedback.
Absolutely. Let's see here. You're going to be on for a bit, so I told you you're going to be on for. There's questions coming here.
Oh, is it? Oh no.
Here we go. Melvin asked, what happens if and when you encounter individuals that you may exhibit better leadership qualities than you have? So I guess
what happens if someone
maybe he's asking, do you get intimidated at all?
Well, he says, what happens if and when you encounter individuals that may exhibit better leadership qualities than you have, not being sarcastic? As far as better leadership qualities, it's a lot to just see in somebody and what someone speaks. You have to actually see how they relate to others, and it's not whether or not you're better than this person or they're better than you. It's that if you see that they have good I know a lot of people that have excellent leadership qualities that I would love to have, and what I do is I watch them and I learn from them. Like I said earlier, I'm learning every day. I learn from people in my class, and hopefully they learn from me. But it's something that you want to take into consideration all the time. I learn from everybody. So if I do believe that they have better leadership qualities than me, then I'm going to learn from them. I'm going to ask them questions. I'm going to find out how to get to where they are.
Okay, so Steph is saying, I think that the diversity and inclusion drive in corporate America is total BS. They get credit for having a diverse workforce, but the minorities are in non-salary, lower-level roles. Your thoughts?
Okay. Let me read the question again. I think that the diversity and inclusion drive, they get credit for having. Okay. Well, I have to agree with that to a certain point. And that's because from the research that I have done and that I'm doing now, I can see that minorities are in lower level positions, and the diversity and inclusion, that's a start. I mean, it took years and years for some organizations to be the way they are. And it's not going to be an overnight success to incorporate diversity and inclusion in your organization. That's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take years to develop that program, years to make a change, to change the mindsets. There's certain things that people there are certain things that they feel that are embedded down in them. So that's not going to be an overnight change at all. No.
So here's the point here. Should it have to take a long time?
It shouldn't have to take a long time. It shouldn't have to take a long time, but we're all different. Some people, it may take a short time. They may, hey, let's get on board, let's do this. I've heard people say that with the program at my organization where I work at. There's a lot of people, hey, I can't wait to do this. I had a couple of individuals tell me that today. Can't wait to do this. I'm here. What do you need of me? And so they're ready to make that change. But then you have some individuals that are spectators. They will sit back and they will watch. And, they may have some negative things to say, but it's going to take a little bit time to wheel them in. If we ever pull them in, you may not be able to pull everybody in or on board with diversity inclusion. But it's an effort. It's a change, and it's something that we all should be doing.
Yeah, Melvin is saying yes, all talk and no work. Ellis says on the Get Vocal platform, I think more minority entrepreneurs will be the key to opening doors.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree.
Excellent. See, I told you we're going to get a lot of questions, so I'm just like, I know there's probably some more you want to share, but if you want, there's a part 2 always available.
See, I told you we could do this in part 1.
No, we got more to share.
In regards to Melvin's comment, Melvin says, yes, all talk and no work. Elaborate a little bit more, Melvin, please.
So before Melvin puts his additional comments in, are there additional content that you'd like to share with us on this conversation?
No, not any additional content. Not in regards to the leadership model. I mean,
no problem. That's okay. And before we leave tonight, folks, the people that are on Get Vocal and the people that are on YouTube, I will share you Deborah's email address. So you can, if you want a copy of her leadership model, she can send it to you. Deborah, that email address is the Gmail one. Is that the one you want to give?
Yes, the DRD.
No problem. I'll put it in. No
okay.
worries. Okay. So Steph is saying, okay, so the questions are still coming. Melvin, comments are still coming. Melvin, I am talking about those individuals that always have something to say, but they're not willing to make it happen.
Yeah, I knew what you were saying. I just wanted you to say that because a lot of people don't know, and I wanted to make sure that's what you meant. That a lot of talk sometimes. I know years ago I experienced in organizations where the leaders would get up into these forums and they was like, okay, we're doing this, we're going to the minority, the minority based colleges and schools, and we're doing this. But the thing is, they wasn't hiring any of them. But it was a lot of talk, a lot of FaceTime about diversity. But when it came down to it, they was not doing the work to get the minorities in the workplace. And so I know exactly what you meant when you said that. I do see a lot of that, though. A lot of talk, no action.
Right. Now on YouTube, U4Sight4U2 says, have you ever come across a situation where there was an easy way to fix a problem, but the employer likes things just the way they are?
Oh, yeah, they don't want to change. Oh, why are you in the mix? Why are you messing things up? We like it. We've been doing this way for years. Yes, I have come across that. Those people they fear change. Basically, they fear change, or either they don't want to accept what's going on with the change in times and the diverse workforce, because the workforce now is more diverse than it ever has been in years ago. So yeah, absolutely. I think that's what it is.
So Steph here, I have worked for Nordstrom, Dr. Pepper, J.C. Penney, PepsiCo, AIG, and JP Morgan, and I've seen little difference in seeing Blacks in leadership positions.
She's seen little differences in what?
Blacks in leadership positions.
Blacks in leadership positions.
a lot of these top known companies, and she's seen very few backs in leadership positions.
I believe it. I really do believe it. I mean, I know what she's saying is factual. I see that a lot in different organizations where it is minorities is few in leadership roles. And so when you incorporate in diversity and inclusion programs, that's why this program is important, because we've got to get the minorities in certain positions that they're not normally in. Yes, exactly.
Melvin is asking, does it frustrate you when you are hired to make changes and they get thwarted from enacting, and you get thwarted from enacting those changes?
Yeah, it's very frustrating. It is. It's very frustrating. But the thing is, you got to persevere and keep going. I mean, you just got to keep going with it and keep doing what you do to get the results that you're trying to accomplish.
Ellis is saying here, that's why I started my own business and left the corporate world. I wanted to create my own destiny instead of hopping.
That's right. Create your own destiny. Do not work for the man. No, just.
And all I will say is that one of the first conversations I had with Dr. D was something to that extent, but we're not going to get into it here. So we'll leave it at that. But she knows exactly what I'm talking about. And I'm going to keep on giving her a little needle every once in a while about that. We won't go into that conversation.
I think there's a certain freedom when people say that they want to work for themselves. I think it's a certain freedom. You know, there's you can create your own processes and policies and things like that. So.
Okay, so I have a comment here from a lady named Christine Nelson. Thanks, Deborah. MUSC needs your help with diversity and inclusion. Please help them.
Oh, please send me an email. I'm happy to help. I can tailor my workshops to fit your need. I tailor my workshops to fit the employer's need. So if you need conflict resolution, I can come and do a training on conflict resolution. If you need my 2-day leadership training, I can come and do that. If you need effective communication, I can come and do that class. Any leadership topic, I can cover it. If you want to know how to lead diversity, just call me, contact me.
Okay, so I've put your email address in the comments section of the YouTube text that she put her comments in. So, Christine, I hope you've got her email address, and she is more than happy to communicate with you.
This is great.
Oh, I'm glad you like it.
It is not so bad.
I told you. Anyone? Oh, Deborah, Dr. D's contact information. Okay, here we go, Melvin. Let me get everyone's asking now. The popularity is off the hook. Hold on here. It's off the chain.
Off the chain.
Email, or as I like to say, out of bounds. Okay, so those who are on the Glet Vocal platform right now watching it live, that's her email address. So that is shared also.
Thank you, Melvin.
So anyone who's watching live on YouTube, anyone who's watching live on Get Vocal, as you're watching live right now, that is her email address. Please reach out to her. As we start winding down our epic conversation, would you have any closing comments for our audience when it comes to effective leadership, other than hiring you?
I just want everyone to be mindful of their actions, because they affect others. I mean, we're leaders. We have to walk, we have to speak, present ourselves in a manner that effectively leads others. We want to make a difference, be a positive influence. So just remember that. I mean, I don't have anything else to say.
Oh, one other thing, too. The important axiom of the best leader to start leadership with is yourself.
Absolutely, absolutely. And don't forget about my book that's out there, the Secure Your Cape book, the Women's Leadership Motivational book for women.
Where can they get it?
Amazon. They can get it on Amazon. I actually have, do I have a copy here? I do have a copy here, but on Amazon it's red. The cover is red now.
Okay.
And so, yeah, that's an inspirational book that I help a lot of people. So that's what it's about, helping others, motivating others, and making a difference.
All right. So if people would like to get in touch with you, we've already given the email address. What other ways can they touch base with you?
They can actually send me a text at 843-730-1187.
Okay, say, hold on. Text. Hold on.
843.
Hold on. Give me a second.
Okay.
843. Yep.
730.
Yep.
1187.
Okay, that's fantastic. You have a website?
I do. It is Dr. D's Leadership Corner.com.
And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, you're also on Twitter. You're also definitely, okay, let me just, so I put her text information on YouTube and also on Get Vocal. Another comment here. Oh, so Lisa Kim is saying, where can I get a copy of your book? You know what I'm going to do? While we're on live right now, it's Secure Your Cape, right?
Yes, it's Secure Your Cape. It's
But if people just bear a moment, and I'm going to see if I can give the link right in real time here for, yes, there it is. So I'm going to cut, so I'm going to give the link for the book Secure Your Cape, because Lisa, you were asking. Let me just do, here is the link for Dr. D's book. Okay, so Lisa, there's the link there. Also, Cite for you to remember, when it comes to change, there are those who only takes a few steps, those who will walk or run until they get tired, and then there are those who will be down for the long haul and do it till it's done. True. There's some people that have staying power. Okay, let me just, here is the link for the Secure Cape book. So now I'm also providing the link for Secure Your Cape to Get Vocal watchers live. So if you click on that link before we end our epic conversation, that'll take you to the link for Dr. D's book on Amazon. Okay, Lisa says thank you. You are very welcome, Lisa. You're more than welcome.
Thank you.
And she would appreciate a purchase.
Yes, I have enjoyed you guys tonight. Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Well, it's our pleasure. Okay, and Don Ellen Morris is doing a retweet. So what we're going to do is we are going to close out this epic conversation. We've got all your contact information. Also, there'll be a replay put on my website for this epic conversation. I am Dr. Vibe, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe show, the home of epic conversations, and I'm the host of Epic Conversations. If you want to watch replays of these video, as I call them, vidcasts, you can go to YouTube and put in the search engine the space dr space SHOW. You can catch that there. Also, if you want to catch replays of my audio epic conversation, you go to my website, thedrvibeshow.com. You can also go to Apple Podcasts, Stitcher Radio, TuneIn Radio, Google Play Music, iHeartRadio. Selected audio replays are available at thegoodmenproject.com. WJMS Radio out of New York City, Mile High Radio out of Denver, Colorado. I am also a certified empowerment coach, president and CEO of Express Your Vibe Coaching Communications. If you'd like a complimentary session, please reach out to me either on Twitter at DRVIBESHOW. You can also follow me on Twitter. You can touch base with me through my website. Go to the top of my website and click on Contact the Dr. Vibe Show, and you'll get the opportunity of reaching out to me via email from my website or sending me a voice message through my website, voice audio message. I'm a brand ambassador for the only online magazine dedicated to African Americans in food, wine, and travel. The name of the magazine is Cuisine Noir Magazine. Website address is cuisinenoirmag.com. If you're a business or entrepreneur and you'd like to get some media promotion, I offer a service called Getting Media Coverage, where I help businesses and entrepreneurs get media coverage so they can elevate their business, product, or service. Upcoming conversations tomorrow night on the 15th of January, we have a gentleman named Danny Stone. He's going to be on at 9 o'clock on the Get Vocal platform and various platforms, talking about basically if you're stuck achieving your goals. He'll provide some thought process and ways where you can get unstuck. Other conversations coming up this week, we're going to be talking about sexual abuse in the Black community. So if you follow me on Twitter or look on the Get Vocal platform, you will see my upcoming epic conversations. I like to close off this way. Remember, live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can if you can dream it, you can make it. Also, sometimes you have to get smaller to get stronger. Block assumptions. And finally, we like to say, just putting it up here, give me a second as I put it out here. Aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, aim wider. And I'm forgetting one of the things I usually say. So I will remember the next time I'm on. So that is that. Thank you, everyone else. Thank you, everyone, for watching on the Epic Conversation tonight. I'll give shout outs to who I can right now. There is Big Bad Brad, who just jumped on. Melvin, Pat, Steph, thank you so much. Ellis, thank you so much. I've covered everyone that was on the Get Vocal and Bobby at the beginning of the Epic Conversation. All the people who jumped on the YouTube, thank you so much. It's appreciated and not taken for granted. Christine Nelson is asking date and time for part 2. See, Deborah, I told you people want a part 2.
Well, anytime I would be glad to come back.
Okay, so what I'm gonna, Christine, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna suggest you follow me on Twitter, and you'll see the date and time for the next epic conversation with Christine. Not with Christine, with Deborah. So I'd like to thank Christine, Lisa Kim, you Foresight for you too. Who else? Harrison Family Vlogs. Thank you so much, everyone, for taking the time to jump on. We will see you tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Remember, you're blessed and highly favored, a magnet for miracles, and a solution for someone's problem. God bless. Peace be well. Keep the faith and walk good. Good night, everyone.
Bye.